You are now watching Believe. Do you believe?
Welcome on board to a collaboration of what we'll call the Speakeasy Unfiltered. I wasn't going to do the Unfiltered Speakeasy. I put you first, man. It's like the neon lights, and then like I'm like the opening act. I put it that way. It's Casey Stern, Rudy Gay.
Hey, we're doing it together, man. Casey
That's
Stern,
what I'm saying, man.
Rudy Gay. We're just collaborating. That's what they call it now.
Even though, like, I'll put it this way. This is like a good icebreaker too. So I spent years working with Karan at NBA TV and had to, as like a St. John's fan growing up, hear about like every time you think you can't, you con. So like I already got the whole drill about what it's like to deal with a guy from UConn. So, and then I saw your tweet right before we came on about Ben Gordon. I'm like, you're right in mode. We could just talk UConn the whole time.
But we can do that. We definitely can do that. Did that hurt you? Did it hurt your feelings when I said that?
No, dude. Are you kidding me? St. John hasn't been relevant since I was like 12. No. The Big East hasn't been relevant since then either, which is sad,
Touché.
man.
Touché.
Right?
Yeah. We just got back though, so that's not all our fault.
Well, no, of course not. You've been like the only team there. It's like Tom Hanks in Castaway, and it's been one team and a bunch of volleyballs. You can get us get us on Twitter because there's only one of each of us. So we don't got to have crazy numbers or names, just our own, at Casey Stern, at Rudy Gay. So let me start here, man. Like the KD situation, right? From the outside, everybody's got their own take, their own idea. And as you know way more than I do, but I do covering it for a couple of decades, only people in the room know what's in the room, right? So I want to take me in the room as a teammate. How tough is that to watch play out in an off season when you know how important that dude is to your team and you don't know whether or not he's going to be there when you get back to camp?
Well, I mean, but the league has changed. Like, this is a league of let me take care of me. Let me take care of what my importance is. It's not much, team. And I mean, it is team. It's a team game. End of the day, everybody has their own business now, obviously, because I have a podcast and I'm able to put my own media out there, just like Draymond and a lot of other guys. But, people are taking care of them. Do I love it? No. Do I love the fact that he could say, I want to leave, and now a team's obligated to try to find him a place? No, I don't love that. But, everybody's in control of their own career. Certain people before wouldn't necessarily do that. But, this is a new era, he's the lead of that. He's the head of that new era. Like, this is something that I don't see a lot of players doing before, but, it is what it is. And this is what he wants to do with his career. I can't sit in the way. Neither of us can sit in the way of what he wants to do. We're just here to talk about, the things around it.
Yeah. And I get that. And look, I mean, it's tough when you're in the league and, the thing that's hard for me, man, is like, you don't want, as an athlete, right? As hard as you guys work and bust your asses and all of that, no matter what you do, somebody on the outside, right, is going to be thinking they wish they were you, right? I mean, you're a performer. You get to play basketball for a living and all the money, right? And all of that. So to have a guy in the league who is given everybody every reason in the world, right, to be like, oh, see, they're all like that. Like that's got to be tough, right? Like, you don't want to be hearing that about players. I mean, you hear enough of that crap, don't you?
Yeah, but like you said, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. Some of them are shitty.
Or is one.
But the thing about assholes, you have some clean ones and you have some shitty ones. So
and that's why they have baby wipes.
That's why they have baby wipes.
That's why they got baby wipes, man. Come on.
Yeah, you're right.
You got kids? You have kids?
I do. I have two.
I got 3.
I know how shitty situation can get. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Wear gloves. Wear gloves. Wear gloves.
Like I said before, like this is a situation, a sticky situation for me, because I mean, I could say a lot more, but, I have a personal relationship with the guy, and, you just try to support whatever the guy wants to do, whether you agree with it or not. Like, I'm on the other end, like, have been put in shitty situations in my career. So, when I see somebody that has the leverage, take full advantage of it, I say go for it. Because I've been traded to bad situations. I've been, putting or been blamed for a lot of things. So like it is what it is, man. This game is unforgiving, and it has a time limit. So make the best out of it while you can.
Yeah, look, I say this from the outside. I mean, he's a unicorn. He's incredibly talented. He's a Hall of Fame level talent. And, to people from the outside, it comes off like a pain in the ass is also to be attached. And that's unfortunate, but that's just the way it looks. And I know, look, I mean, even though you claim Baltimore, you were born in Brooklyn though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My dad's from Brooklyn. So I feel like we're, I mean, there's a little bit of a kinship there. Cause I mean, you gotta be tough to be in Brooklyn. They better win, right?
Become best friends.
They better win. At the end of the day, if you're in Brooklyn, you better win. You're winning at Rudy.
They're going to win. They're going to win.
Yeah, some.
They're going to win. If they have Kevin Durant on their team, they're going to win. I didn't say a championship. I don't know.
Yeah,
but they're going to win a lot of games for sure.
Yeah, sure. The question is with Ben Simmons and Kyrie and everything. Hey, look, I just hope they've got a good therapist on board, and I'm sure there's plenty because, I mean, there's gonna be some drama inside that room. So
it's gonna be definitely drama. Definitely drama.
Let me ask you this because I want to shift over to what Dame had to say. I love Dame. To me is like he's like the example of like gets it as an athlete and encyclopedia, like he right there. But it's kind of a transition to that off the KD thing. As a vet now, when you think back to your time, like at the beginning in the league, right? How important are the glue guys and the vets in a room, like a Brooklyn specifically, or in any situation in an NBA year where you got to have those dudes who just know what the right things are to do and say to keep everybody together? How much do we not understand the importance of that?
You talking about in reference to the KD situation?
In general, like, I mean, any situation where in a long NBA season, right? Like you need to get that ship righted. As great as the coaches may be, how important do those vets become in rooms like that?
Well, I mean, Udonis Haslem is 42 years old. He still plays and doesn't play, So they literally give him $2.5 million just to be in the locker room. So that's all the answer you need. Yeah, like, it's very important, I think. And that's the problem with the NBA. This, like, I'm going to go ahead and say it. That's the problem with the NBA. They want to go young. They want to do this and want to play fast. But at the end of the day, basketball is a sport that takes time for people to understand it. Like, it's not just something you can roll the ball out there and be successful. You know what I'm saying? It took, even for the Golden State Warriors, it took them like 4 years for them to either be like, obviously they have one of the best players of all time on their team. But it took time for him to figure out how to be great, and they had a lot of people around them that were like, look, the early ons, they had the Andrew Bogut's, they had the Jared Jacks, they had Andre Iguodala, who was still there, like,
David Lee,
guiding them. Yep. Yeah, like all these guys guiding these young guys to championship level basketball. And, I'm not trying to sound like the old guy that hates on the young players, because I'm all for everybody, grow on. But you need the old voice in the room, telling them like, yo, that's not right. Like, what are you doing? What? Yeah, okay. Your arguments sound like, even with coaches and players, like that happens. They have spats, like ones you hear about, ones you don't hear about, and you need that vet to be like, you're wrong. You know what I mean?
Sure,
like, look,
of course.
Not even you're wrong, player, but look, coach, you're wrong. You know what I mean?
So it's trust, man. Right? Yeah, at the end of the day, it's trust. I mean, you could try. I'm Casey Stern. He's the vet that hates younger players. I'll be that. I still have a job. No, you kidding? Hey. Let me tell you something. It's a tough league to have one for as long as you have. I want to ask you about Dame. He had, which was for those who haven't seen a great Instagram post, he was talking about what all the things that it takes, I think, to be a star, certainly, but also what you deal with, right? Like kind of like what you have to have. When you think about your time in this sport, going back to even like college, all the way back to being a kid, and you think about the guys that you've seen succeed with you as teammates, against you, the success you've had, what's the first thing you got to have? What's forget talent. Let's just say talent is, because really you need talent, right? Take that off the board. Other than talent, which is obvious, what's the first thing you got to have?
Consistency. And you can't base your work ethic on someone else's. You have to be content on who you are and just what's the word I'm looking for? You have to be kind of like, you have to just be at like your regimen has to be like every
You gotta be
day. I'm gonna
disciplined.
work on this. You gotta
Discipline.
be
Discipline.
That was actually the word I was looking for.
See? I mean, come on, man.
That.
I complete
this
you.
This is a match made in heaven. Honestly,
I complete you. That's basically what it comes down to.
Hey, Believe Network. This is a match made in heaven, right?
But
here.
Discipline, right?
You have to be disciplined. I played with a guy named Kyle Lowry, and he was, a low first round draft pick, looked at as a backup to no disrespect to Mike Conley. Mike Conley is a great player in his own, but we're looking at a Hall of Famer now. And he was one of the most disciplined people in the locker room. So, and you try to bring people in, and it almost gets to a point where it was uncomfortable because Kyle wanted it. He really wanted it, and he was going to be disciplined on try to get it. And he got there. He found his spot and got there. He didn't come in with this chip like, braggadocious and said, I'm supposed to get this, I'm supposed to get that. He just worked. He worked his way there, and that's what kids don't do. And I think that's what you were getting at with Dame.
Yeah.
In the interview, if you guys if they have the soundbite, they'll play it probably right now. But Dame basically was saying like kids come in with this chip on their shoulder, like they're expected to give have something handed to them, and kids don't. I think what he said was there was a kid interviewed at his camp, and they said that the question was, what team would you want to play for? And the kid said, a team where I'll have the ball in my hands or I'll be in a good spot. Like, motherfucker, I was happy to just be in the NBA at that point. You know what I mean? Like, whoever drafts me, that's where I want to go. Whoever drafts me, I'll figure it out then. Like, ball in your hands, you got Dame Lillard on your team. You're not going to have the ball in your hands. You have John Moran on your team. You're not going to have the ball in your hands, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if a kid is saying that right now at 17
he already
old,
lost. He already
lost. He's already lost.
When you think about kind of the comments of being a superstar, right? And then you were talking about, Rudy, about coming out of school and, not everybody going to get the ball, right? Not everybody going to be in the same spot. People don't realize, and I always say this, that, and look, I cover baseball too. The rosters are way smaller. Everybody who plays in the NBA was the best player in their school, in their town, in their state, in the college, in the conference, right? Somewhere, right? In the G League or somewhere. When you saw Dre's comments that he had made about, which now have been viral in the last 24 to 48 hours, about knowing a role in the league, how much is that something that like every dude in this league would retweet because of how important what he said was?
Every dude would not retweet that because I mean, yeah. If you're smart enough,
I watch.
If you're smart enough to know that, but if you're not, you're going to continue. Look, at the end of the day, the NBA is not for everybody, and the athletic aspect is only half of it. Being there and being smart and knowing your role is the other half. Everybody's not going to be LeBron James. Everybody's not going to be the guy that comes in and just becomes the man. Everybody's not going to be John Morant. Like it's just not possible. It's not possible. The game is people are too good. The game is too fast. And it takes time for you to become that guy that you want to turn yourself into. And it might not even be with the team that you're drafted to, So end of the day, like I'm torn. What Draymond was saying, I'm torn because it literally was a pickup game in Los Angeles. Now, me personally, I believe during the summer, you're supposed to practice everything and become the best player or try to become the best player you can be. Draymond was there. A jumble of the pros. So it's like, I get what he's trying to say. But during the summer, I don't get paid to play during the summer. I'm going to work out and do whatever I can do to get better and try shit. That's what you do during the summer. You try shit. If I've never met a person in life that just goes out in the NBA and just does shit because that's what they thought about. No, they've done it before. Like it's, this is what I practice during the summer. I'm gonna go into pick up, and that's when I'm gonna practice. That's when I'm gonna work on what I practice. You know what I'm saying? So I understand the concept behind what he's saying, but like, yo, nobody's getting paid for that.
So you're saying, and I want you to expound. I'm not interrupting you. You're saying, and me, but it makes sense. There are dudes in that gym who are like, dude, I'm just trying to get my shit in. Like, I'm just trying to get my work in. Like, shut the hell up so I can get back to running my sprints.
Right. I'm trying to get my shit off, man. This is what I practice. Let me see if I can get it off in the game before I take it to training camp. And then from training camp, put it into an actual game. I think everybody should add something to their game during the summer. And now to Draymond, who is now a veteran in this league, for him to see somebody that he's not used to seeing doing certain things, yeah, it might make him mad. But you know what? That's one thing you work on. Now, when you get to camp, now I'm the veteran in the locker room. If I see somebody do something that they're not used to doing and they fail at it, like, you got to stop that. That's not your game. But if you practice it during the summer and play pickup doing that, most likely you won't fail at it. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
what we talking about here? Like he I understand the concept behind, like I said, the concept behind what he's saying, but end of the day, bro, the summer is your summer. That's my summer.
Yeah. He's not teaching a seminar, and he's not even in preseason with his own team. Right?
No.
He out there with some dudes getting work in.
Yeah. The summer's mine. You can't tell me how to play during the summer. Right. Now, if you're my coach or if you're my teammate, you say, look, you gotta chill during the season. Yeah, I get that. But the summer's mine.
Right.
That's where you get better.
Look, I don't know Draymond well. I like the guy. He's also filming a movie every time he says anything, like in his own mind. I mean, like everything's dramatic, right? So, I mean, this is the important thing I think some people don't realize about sports and covering sports 20 years. I've seen it in two different sports. Eyewash. Like, what I meant for the people listening, like what I meant by that is that you know this. There are some times where like eyes will roll out of guys' heads listening to somebody else who just spouts out their mouth all the time, trying to tell you how to play. Like, you got to, as a vet, right? Like, there's a certain way you got to handle yourself. And there were certain guys that you probably listened to, right? When you were young, like when you think about early in your career, give me a guy or two that, like, even if it might be like underrated or we wouldn't think of, like, who are the dudes that like you learned the real, and I don't care if it's like how to travel, how to act professional, how to deal with like, time on the floor. Like, who are the dudes that like when you came into the league really showed you how it got done?
Damon Stoudemire, Mike Miller. Those are two guys that really showed me. Like those guys, Mike still has some game. Damon just came back from a big knee injury, so he was like trying to work himself back in. But those were two guys that really, really, really showed me like, yo, this is what we do. This is professional. Damon Stoudemire was very blunt with me. Taught me a lot of stuff. Not even trying to, just basically being like I am the players now, just saying like, yo, what the fuck you doing? But there's a lesson in that. You said something before, like, about people before. Like I've had people come to me and say, I had a guy come up to me in New York. He asked me, obviously I'm tall. He says, you're tall, you play basketball? And I hate that question, but I was like, whatever, he's old. So I was like, yeah, I play basketball. He was like, yeah. I played with one of the best high school teams ever.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, I didn't think to myself, I said, look, I don't know who you are. Everybody has a story, my boy.
Right, of course.
Everybody has a story. I don't care about your high school team, man.
I ran game, of course.
I don't give a shit about your high school team.
Of course not.
Okay, keep that to yourself, bro. If you're using that to relate, so like, okay, let's make a conversation. Look, you're 50 years old and you talk to me about high school. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
But you know how it is, man. It's like everybody, and that's the thing, dude. Like, I always say this, like, in talking to athletes the last couple of, like, for 2 decades now, the thing that always strikes me people don't realize most dudes who fail in the NBA or Major League Baseball are failing for the first time they've ever failed.
Yeah.
Those guys have been great. That's how they got there. That's why not everybody walks in there, right? That's what I was.
Yeah, it's
that's
a
what
gift.
I was going to say. That's what I was going to ask you. Like, how much is that the biggest thing you learn as a player in the league to be able to have longevity that you've had, right? And even through injuries, bounce back. You clearly not only could play, but you got to have fortitude and got to have balls, right? But how much like did you learn from like realizing the stage was different? Like it wasn't as easy. Like were there times early in your career where you were like, holy shit, like I've got to up my game because what I got now isn't enough? Like, are there moments like that early in your career when you get in, like just college to NBA?
Hell yeah. I mean, when you first step foot in the NBA, you're not playing against 20, 21-year-olds or even like 6, 7, like 19 to 21. Like, no, these are grown men in the NBA. Like, we have families. Like, we get paid for this. You know what I mean? So they're trying to take your neck off. You walk into that gym thinking it's going to be easy. That's what I'm saying. Like, yo, it's not enough vets in it. Like, everybody is young. So, like, whereas they're jockeying for position with another young guy, an older guy is going to know exactly how to play, where to be at these places at the right time and teach these guys how to play and also be able to be on the court with you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think that's, you know, I don't understand why the league is going away from young guys, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. But I mean, older guys, excuse me, but that's here nor there. But yeah, it's tough. Everything, you got to level up. You know, I've been a part of some of the worst situations in the league at times and been a part of trades and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, you always got to look at yourself, but how do you respond from that? I've responded by, look, I'm going to be better. You know what I mean? Instead of being like, shit, the world, you know, woe is me. The world is, you know, this and that. No, it can't be like that. I didn't grow up like that.
Well,
you know,
I was saying, man, plus you bounce back from injury and at the worst time, right? I mean, like that's like fortitude. But that's how you got to where you are. You know, I mean, I just want to know if my Knicks will ever win a game, but that's a whole nother thing. At Casey Stern, at Rudy Gay, you know, I mean, honestly, like I just want to stop going to therapy for like the teams I root for. I mean, seriously, man, it's like, I mean, come on, man. If you just send Donovan over, let him kind of hang out, he can play for both teams. I need some help, man. Like, come on, bro. Like, you know, the Garden is it's a great building to play. It's great. I mean, look, you know this from playing the Big East. I mean, forget about when it was the Big East. Like, the Garden's such a great building. It's the biggest waste of a great place, like ever.
Let me tell you the problem with the Knicks, and this is like for people who don't know, their practice facilities in Westchester.
In Rye. Yeah.
That's a real issue, man. That's a real issue. Traffic and you know, it's New York City. So
dude, you're telling me traffic is why they can't get free agents? Come on.
One of them. It's one of the reasons. I'm just
really
saying. I mean, I don't know. It'll be a reason for me, but I'm saying like you have to go to practice, shoot around in Westchester, and then you spend the rest of your day in the car going to Times Square. And if you're familiar with New York, you know that's a lot of driving.
Hey, I'm familiar. Hey, please. I mean, come on, man. I'll tell you what, it takes longer to get from DC to Baltimore than it does anywhere in Manhattan for Mr. Baltimore. I mean, come on, the traffic and the belt, it's pretty bad. I know nobody's going to see the Wizards, but that's a whole other thing.
Depending upon the time. DC to Baltimore, depending upon the time.
Depending upon the time. Which, unlike New York, is like, look, I live in Atlanta now, and it's like traffic everywhere.
Atlanta's bad. Atlanta's bad, man.
Atlanta's the worst. People dumb. Like, they can't drive. You got a million lanes. I mean, come on, man. But you can't tell me traffic's the reason the Knicks can't get a free agent is traffic. Come on, man.
It's one of them.
Come on. Well, that's the bullshit. That's what I'm not saying you're bullshit. I'm saying that's bullshit. That's not worth my therapy. I want. Go ahead.
Probably in sports, they can make a practice facility in Madison Square Garden around it, bro. Like, come on now. It's about cool buildings.
It's Jim Dolan. You know, he's got his own issues. I mean, look, when the owner of the team is creating his own shit with Charles Oakley, who's like one of the the like epitomes of the franchise. It's like the guy has Dolan clearly doesn't know what the hell he's doing, but that's fine. I'll tell that to my therapist. I want to ask you about, because I saw your comments on it from, I think it was your last pod, and the situation with Brittany, this whole thing is, to me, it's like, it's, for me as not a basketball player, it's not a sports thing, it's a human thing. It's not even an American thing. It's like a human thing that pisses you the fuck off. Like, seriously, right?
Yeah.
I saw the thing with Dennis, Rodman, obviously, trying to, keep the peace and find a way. I mean, I don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah, they're sending the big guns over there.
I mean, how when you're talking to, because I saw your thoughts on it, like when you're talking to people around the league and people in the game, and there's a fraternity in basketball, like how much are people just like appalled at that this is even a thing? It just seems crazy to me.
It's just insane. Like, she got caught in the middle of some BS, and it's insane that she's still there and being able to it. Like, by the way, I mean, they're sending, what did she get? 9? What is it? 8 years?
I think it was 9, 8 or 9, somewhere around there. It's crazy.
Sending Dennis Rodman over there, she's probably going to have 18. So,
well, I was going to say, I don't know what maybe he's bringing over a copy of the 30 for 30 on the Bulls. I don't know what he's going to do there. I don't know what he's going to do there.
I don't know. He might be in there next tour, to be honest with you.
But it's crazy, man. It's right. I mean, in a world of crazy, it's crazy.
It's honestly, it's insane because, not only does, it show like what they think about Americans, but like for those WNBA players that have to go overseas to compensate what they don't make over here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it puts a strain on them. Like, now they're like hesitant to go over there and do be free, and that's what sucks about it. Like, I know a couple of WNBA friends, and obviously they have BG on their hearts, but like, the season, like, some teams are done. Like, they're trying to figure out if they want to go overseas or not. And if they don't, shit, they don't have a living. You know what I mean?
Yep. It's crazy. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's hard to think about because it just pisses you off from the standpoint of like, it's not about what she did. It's about doing it to an American. And it's about, right? I mean, which is like doing it to somebody famous who you could use as some kind of an example. It's just some bullshit.
Stick it to America, man. That's
exactly. It is just some, it's some bullshit. I want to end on something fun. So let me go back to the fact that I noticed and hopefully we'll do some more podcasts together, but I noticed in the first 5 minutes we talked to each other, you mentioned shit a lot. So I know you said you got kids. How old are your kids?
8 and 6.
Okay. So I've got 8, 7, and 5.
Okay.
So see, like Believe just knew, man. I mean, this is like, let's keep it real right now.
Let's keep it real.
When the kids were young and it was time to roll over in the bed and honey, it's your turn for number 2, right? Like,
hold on.
How much?
My turn for number 2, what?
Yeah, like
round
you gotta
2?
clean. You gotta clean the diaper.
Oh, you mean like that? I thought.
Yeah. No. No. Now you gotta clean the diaper. Come on, man. It's a family show. I mean, I'm talking about shit.
Is it? Is it a family show?
I'm keeping it clean. So
Okay.
you gotta roll over. You gotta do the diapers, right?
Okay.
Do the diapers.
Yeah. Right.
Did you consider at any one of those points? You know what? Playing for the Knicks might actually not be as bad as this.
Man, cleaning shit and playing for the Knicks. Let's see which one was better. No. Actually, I love New York. New York City's great. I love Tibbs. He coached me at Team USA.
He's great, man. He's great.
Yeah, he's great. He's a Connecticut guy, actually. So, did you know that?
I did not know that, but I knew he was a Knicks guy because he was coaching. He was coaching back in the 90s.
Now he's
when I grew up. Yes, but he was then too. He's on the coaching staff back in the 90s. With the 90s Knicks. Did you know that?
Yeah. Okay. Whatever. All right.
See?
Whatever.
Don't whatever me just because you're from Baltimore. You live in Brooklyn. How long did you live in Brooklyn before you went to Baltimore? Like 4 days? Like, why are you claiming Baltimore? Like, what about Brooklyn? We're forgetting Brooklyn?
Yeah, about a little time. Spend a little time there.
Man, Brooklyn's great, man. Brooklyn
is great. Brooklyn is great.
You could go move there and do whatever KD and Kyrie tell you to do. No, all right, never mind. Let me.
So about those Knicks. So what
yeah,
we saying again?
Yeah. So all right. So seriously speaking, because this is, I think, something that from athletes I've learned, right? So I think you can think of a million scenarios. Like I remember covering the finals when Fred VanVleet just had his child and like never missed a 3-pointer seemingly for like a month. I've seen baseball players come back, be like different players. How much did your career change in terms of how every game you saw when you became a dad? And I see you nodding already. Like, isn't that like, is that it for an athlete? Is that the great game changer to kind of keep into context what a game is as hard as you play versus like when you come home and, you got people there who don't care whether or not you scored 30 points?
Yeah. I mean, that's really what it was about. Like I was really hard on myself. Like if I had a bad game or if we didn't win, I really take that home with me. But, when I had kids, it was like, they don't care about the game or what happened. Like, just be a dad. And that made me have like memory loss. So in return, it did help me with my game in the beginning. But, like with, life happens, other things happen. I've had injuries in between then and just having, my kids to come back to and they're cheering for me regardless, that made a lot of things better. It made, I don't know where I'd be mentally if with all the injuries and stuff I've been through, I don't know where I'd be mentally without my kids.
See, like this is a family show. Don't you feel that now? Like now that we're wrapping this up, this was like a family. This is a family episode of this show. We have the option, unfiltered speakeasy. What option do we have?
We can just switch it up. Now it's a family show. Before we're talking about shit and rolling over for round 2.
I didn't talk. Now you talked about that. I mean, you were talking about that. I only asked the question. See, I only asked.
That was the question. That's the thing. That was the question.
You know how the media is. Is. We just ask the shit. You guys are the ones who get the quotes who say it. No,
I do.
Dude, this was fun, man. This was fun. We'll do this again. And I next time I won't keep so many things buffering on my computer that have a break in the middle, so that I got to move to an iPhone.
See, I thought it was a family show.
Clear history, people. You got to clear. Dude, had a blast, man. This is fun. At Rudy Gay, at Casey Stern. Jump on the bandwagon for Speakeasy Unfiltered. Stay easy, stay well, and God bless everybody.